Top of the morning, big dog. How you feeling?
Great, man. How are you today?
Can't complain. You put me in a good mood when I walked in here. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's supposed to be, man. Every day, all day.
Yes, introduce yourself to the people, if you will.
My name is Corey Luckett, owner of Englewood Branded and nonprofit Branded Englewood.
Okay, Corey Luckett. Coincidentally, when you were walking in here, you kind of reminded me of a young fellow, and I'm guessing y'all were related. I'm guessing since you said your name, I didn't know your name was Corey Luckett, honestly.
Okay.
His name was Lil Core, DJ Lil Core.
Yeah, that's my son.
I kind of figured because y'all got the same mannerism and everything, and then you said Corey, and I just put two and two together.
Yep, that's my son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How long you been in this area?
What do you mean, in Englewood?
Yes, sir.
I moved to Englewood when I was 5 years old.
Okay, pretty much raised in here. What area were you born in, if you don't mind me asking?
North Lowndale, 16th and Christiana.
So Chicago your whole life?
Oh, Chicago.
Chicago born and bred, yes, sir, yes, sir. What made you start the Englewood branding thing?
Well, you know, since I came here, it's been nothing but love. 5 years old, running up and down the streets, never had any issues from, like, at all. So that was one of the reasons that made me really get into it, because I had so many people looking after me, taking care of me, if you will, in terms of, you know, not financially, but just like making sure I was safe.
It takes a community.
Community, yeah. So from the neighbors to the dealers, the bangers, high school, teachers, coaches, all of that, it was all love all the time. So I never even shot a gun.
That's what's up.
I mean? And I'm 47, so just to be in a community where they say it's riddled with gangs and it's all negative, you know, that's a really good feeling to be able to have this structure, and I came from this.
Yes, sir. That's one reason I did want to interview you here, like physically here, because, you know, you got the mascot, a very lighthearted situation,
Right.
in the crazy, quote unquote, crazy neighborhood. That brings a lot of contrast to the area, you know what I mean? Killing's right, you know, a few feet away, if you will, but you have a loving bear, you know, a dancing bear mascot, you know, representing the same area.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's what I don't like for people's perspective. You said killing like right next to me or whichever way, but that's all over Chicago. That's all over the world.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? It's just that they pick specific places to narrate that story. You know what I mean? We all know what's going on the north side, whether it's Rogers Park or, you know what I mean, whichever. I don't even really know all of the communities on the north side, but we know because we're here. But this is nothing that the media will publicize to the world. So Englewood is the Cinderella, if you will. That's how I feel. We get the bad rep. We always got to do the dirty work. We always got to clean up, you know what I mean, clean up mess or whichever the case is. But at the end of the day, it's always been a beautiful place. And a lot of times what people don't really understand is that you have so many people and organizations that work hard to be able to do things like this. So it's just kind of like the untold story. So we're working hard now to tell the story of Englewood and let people understand that this is a good place to be. And everything happens according to the way people perceive them anyway.
Yes, sir.
So their perception is going to be what it is. But once you get here and you see it and you can touch it firsthand, you'll understand, like, wow, you know, everybody has a story, and everybody has a positive and a negative story, no matter who you are in the world.
Yes, sir.
You got a positive and a negative story.
Pros and cons to everything.
That does not give you the, like, it shouldn't put you in a perspective to judge either story. You know what I mean? I would just say that you have to come and experience it for yourself.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. I do understand why they push a certain narrative, you know, property value, things like that, to aim certain things at one community or whatever versus the other, funding and stuff like that. Do you think that has caused, like, an issue with your situation as far as, okay, they're painting a narrative that the community is like this? Do you think that prohibits you from funding and certain?
It definitely, at some points, I think it prohibits me from funding, but that's why I, you know, hit the ground running the way I did. I used to try to ask for support and help here and there, and it was difficult getting it. So I made it to where I made a brand that was good enough for people to like really want to support, and 10% of that brand goes into my situations in terms of whether they're events or helping youth. We're geared toward youth and community, so I didn't want somebody's no to prohibit me from doing what I plan to do for the community anyway.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I did what I did, and it works out. And one of the things that it did was it did to give a little more recognition, and that is what, like, person to person, that's always been a thing that helped Englewood branded thrive.
Yes, sir.
So from the sales to the friends being able to say, hey, I got this from here, or I got this from there, and the festivals, that has what has really, really helped us continue to grow.
Just I'm not sure if you said it or not, but how long have you been here?
We've been here 6 years. This is
Okay.
7, yeah.
2017, so right dead smack in the middle of the rise of the music scene in Chicago.
Yeah.
I was told, I did an interview a while ago, and I was told by the subject that the Chicago music, like the increase in music, how should I say, I'm tripping right now. It's early in the morning. The progress in music, if you will, the progress in music has really caused a deficit in our community as far as more drugs, more killings, more gang violence and stuff like that. What could you say to that?
Well, I mean, to say that that is the direct cause of it, I can't say that. But what I do know is that artists should be a little more sensitive as to understanding how these young people gravitate to music. If you pay attention from our learning perspectives in our communities, you could put a book in front of us all day, and a lot of us won't be able to narrate or correlate what's in that book, right? But the moment you put on a song with a beat that has a trend, it's easy to catch, right? So I think, moving forward with that, if artists really understand the power that they have in music, because our young people gravitate to it, and it's something that like really, really transcends with them, the quality of music that you put out is going to be the quality of leadership that you have, if you will, because a lot of these young people listen to it. So it's just about understanding what you're putting out. If you're going to put out a song that says I'm riding with 30 techs, you're going to have kids looking for 30 techs to be able to ride with.
That way they know the life that they're rapping. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but you have to really understand that narrative that was not just pushed by these young people, but was pushed by the industry standard right now. That's what they're signing. That's what they're giving light to. But what's not understood is that you're signing that, but they're also signing on for that insurance policy on you. You understand what I'm saying? So now you got this deal, but you also got this insurance policy, and now that you made it, you have to push that narrative.
But you feel like I'm making $30 million off talking this crap. Why would I stop talking? I made $30 million already. A person who can't see, later on down the line would keep going that path. A smart, like let's say if you were the spook that sat by the door, if you will, just to reference the book and the movie. If you knew, okay, I'm gonna talk this crap to get this money, and now I'm gonna flip the script. You know what I mean? If we had someone smart enough to move like that, okay, give us this big check.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I tricked you. I got you. Now this 30 million is going into the community instead of going into talking about 30 techs.
Yeah. But then, that's interesting you said that, because at the end of the day, nobody's reading these contracts. So we just signing these contracts.
They seeing that big old number.
They seeing the number, we're signing them. Not, the proper lawyers are not in place, the proper friends, if you will, because a lot of times we get trapped in these situations and we're not really understanding the crowds that we have around us, not knowing the truthfulness or the loyalty or whichever the case is. So you got to watch who you have around you as well, because they play a big role in your ups and your downs. Your
mental capacity as well. So that actually led me to one thing that I want to ask. I want to ask, what gives you this community vibe, like to where you want to help the community?
Like I said, growing up here in Englewood, where you looked at the news and all you saw was negativity, I never experienced that. I mean, yes, I've had friends that get killed. I've had friends that go to jail. Yeah. But I've never been in those situations personally. You know what I mean? I've been kind of always kept away from it. So like when I was coming up, if it was finna go down on the block, they'd come and say, "Yo, y'all get in the house. It ain't safe."
Were you raised with your mom and dad?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's another part of it as
Yeah.
well.
So I had my mom and my dad, and then when my mom and dad split up, my mom's boyfriend, which my stepdad, he was there, and I think even with those guys there, they were still at work all day.
So
they
the
came
outside
home.
was still there.
Right, the outside was still there. So, a lot of times people say, well, the dad isn't in the home, and that's fine. But my dad was in the home, but he was also at work. So when I would see him, sometimes I wouldn't see him until the weekend, because when I get up from school, he sleep because he's worked 3 to 12. So I'm going to school, and when I get back from school, he's at work. So at 12 o'clock when he comes in, I'm asleep. So it wasn't really until weekends that you would be able to see that. So, that was still a narrative where we still had mom and then the streets. And fortunately, I never had, those issues or those,
With the street situations, yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked that because, okay, it led to the other part as far as people not having appropriate friends around. People wasn't raised in the community situation like you, to where they had people saying, hey, nah, get off the block right now. We're doing this and this is happening. You got people just trying to survive.
Yeah.
You got a person, okay, they probably can't intellectualize the fact that the system is pulling them left and right. They're bleeding them dry, but they know they're getting bled dry. They feel it. My money is leaving left and right. I'm stressed all the time. I'm whatever all the time, anxious all the time, traumatic, living in traumatic situations. So instead of them trying to fix that, they actually aim it at somebody else. They're not telling you, hey, dog, don't shoot this gun. Hey, dog, read this contract all the way, because they really don't care. They just tired of getting bled dry. So now, in turn, that turns into the person who's standing next to them. You may have a loving heart. You may look at them like, okay, hey, this is my friend, this is my dog, because the way you was raised. But this person been living through trauma his whole situation.
Right.
So he kind of looking at you like a stain in a sense, He plotting in a way to find his exit.
Yeah.
And I think that's one major thing that goes on in our community. So we are getting to these points to where you have a Chief Keef, a Dirk, a Herb, or whatever, getting these big old contracts. He or she or whoever may have that loving heart, but that person that they grew up with, that they was raised with, they mom in the crib smoking crack. You know what I mean? They father, they ain't never seen their father. So many situations like that. And I think until we fix things like that, till we have more people being raised like how you were raised. I was raised in a similar way. I had so many people around me. Yeah, it was still mess going on, but it was that, no, it's gonna go down, get off the block. So now you just helped me understand a little bit. That's why I come back, because I feel it's my duty, because they did help me through those times.
I think right now, a lot of these guys are just a conversation away from change. I had a young man come up to me the other day. He was like, man, I like what you did with this court. Thank you. What inspired you to do that? And I told him, people like you, the opportunity to really get a space where you guys could come and kind of release and open up and things like that, just to be able to have conversations and see what it is young people want. A lot of the times they do what they do, not having anyone to communicate with. This year will be our 5th annual Fall Fest, of which we take the 2 corner lot. Well, now we put the break room on there that you'll look into a little later, but we turned that corner in the one across the street to a pumpkin patch and a carnival. This year, Fall Fest is on October 15th. Last year we serviced over 2,000 people and fed 1,400 people right here on the corner of 63rd and Justine. So now with the break room there, we're looking to kind of expand it and move out towards the street, but it's October 15th. Free carnival, free music, and this is where we highlight our youth entrepreneurs. All of our entrepreneurs are youth. All the money that they make, they get to keep and put back into their businesses, as well as we look for 2 to 3 of them to help legitimize their businesses. So that's one of our things that we really try to look at. We talked earlier about just empowering and encouraging, and we figure if we start with the youth, those are tangible opportunities for them to just grow a little more. And hopefully they'll be able to turn their business into an empire and hire their friends.
Yes, sir.
You know, and things like that, or community based, or whichever the case is. So Fall Fest, October 15th, right here on the corner, 63rd and Justine at the Englewood Break Room. Englewood Brandon Englewood.
How can somebody donate to the cause to help?
You could always donate through the website www.brandingenglewood.org. We'll also be putting up a lot of information for different types if you want to utilize Zelle or Cash App or any of those things. So I'll make sure that all of that information is there. Just the other day, a young guy walked up to me and he asked, "Yo, I like the court you did down there. What inspired you to do it?" And I told him, young people like you giving you opportunities to like really come out and enjoy yourselves in a safe space. And then we just got to, continuously talking or whatever, and he got to telling me about things that he wanted to do. And I was asking him, like, so what's stopping you from doing that? And he was like, well, it's a lot of things. And I just told him, like, so this is why I did this, for you guys to be able to come out. We could talk about things. We can, start things. If you wanted to start your own business, I can help you with that. Like, what are some of the things that you want to do? And he started talking about, it'd be nice to rent out a gym and just have everybody come and hoop. So what that did was that took me back to the beginning of things. That's all I wanted to do at a certain point in my life as a teenager, to be able to just go and play ball, just to be off the streets. So that was the same narrative. So that was one of the reasons that I created the basketball court, in a sense, in that space, because it gives them the opportunity. But I think, at this point in my life, I'm really trying to communicate with them and have conversations to see which one of them will be like, yo, I'm tired of this, I want to do this. This is what I really want to do, so we can help that person. And we've done it a few times, and we just want to be able to continuously do that. And hopefully when they leave here, they'll go talk to their friends and say, hey, yo, let's go check this out. And by the time, it trickles down, we'll have an opportunity to really understand, like, yo, this is what these kids want. We're in the era of the trend, right? Where they're taking over spaces. But everybody's quick to say, put them in jail or this, that, and the other. And I can tell you, I was one of them that said, if they, vandalizing people's cars and things like that, yeah, they should get locked up. But then there's a bigger picture in it. Like, what is it that they really want? How many conversations have been had with this teen trend? Any of the leaders, or just any of them in general, to find out like what it is, what's making them do that. Mm-hmm. Because as I told this young man, I'm like, you don't understand the power that you have if you can organize like thousands of kids to come at one point to do some negative shit. Imagine what you could do if you could get those same 1,000 teens to come out and we work on a plan to make it better for everybody. Mm-hmm. Understanding the youth are the way of the world. We gonna age out. Man. when we age out and we gone, then what? So what can we instill in them right now? These that have the power to bring thousands of kids together and say, all right, let's tear this shit up, and they tear this shit up. Imagine that power, yo. Let's get economically sound right now.
That part.
Let's create these businesses where we could create a chain. Hey, McDonald's is not the only thing that could franchise. Harold's, like, there's so many things that these kids could do and franchise out that will be able to take them to a whole nother level.
I think it takes the conversation, because we're not, like you say, the music thing. If I cut on a song, okay, I get the vibe to it. I'm rocking back and forth. Yeah. Okay, these words are catchy.
Yeah.
And then they'll get used to that environment, that mental space. Yeah. But that's what we're putting in front of them. We're not putting, we haven't found, I guess, the coolest way or the trendiest way to put in front of them, hey, be economically sound. Hey, be fiscally responsible, things like that. Because of the money, that's what I've always been telling people since I was young. Like, the money that we're spending and the energy that we're spending, our counterparts are driving Maseratis and living in mansions.
Yeah, and it's all from simple little things, and it's not even taking a whole lot for them to do that, but they understand, they grasp the concept of how to make that happen. Like, you have, we just passed, or I don't know if we're still in the year not the year, but the era of the scammers. Like these people can really, like they're smart enough to scam. They're smart enough to like make things happen on a level that's indictful. You could use that same energy to create that same monologue with the reach and the bandwidth that you have. Like prime example, one of these kids on this trend make a t-shirt, right? And they post that t-shirt and they have everybody in this trend that was outside post that t-shirt. It goes viral. Now this $12.99 t-shirt, which they're probably going to sell it for $30 or $40, goes viral, and you're a millionaire instantly because you had the bandwidth of all of these young people to push that product.
Yes, sir. Do you see the evolution of that, like in a positive way?
Of the teen trend?
Of our community, period. Like, do you see?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I do what I do. I think that it's catchy. I think it is trendy, and I think it's just going to take the right people to push that. You know, it's easy. If I was out here, I guarantee you, if I had fucking pills on a shirt or any of that shit, it'll fly. It'll fly because it's what they're into.
So right now, do you see more times than not the kids want to be under the gang act, or do you think that they want to get out of, like the average kid? You got 10 kids. Out of those 10 kids, how many would you say wants to be on the straight and narrow path?
All of them. I honestly, I believe the only reason that a lot of these kids are under the gang act is just because the people that they're around, they're just trying to fit in. You know, and you and I know as young men, fitting in comes with a lot. Now you got to prove yourself. You understand what I'm saying? You got to prove that this is where you want to be. So it's like
where you deserve to be.
Where you deserve to be, and things like that. So that's just the narrative right there. Just understanding who you're around and where you're trying to fit in. But a lot of these guys don't even really understand that they're leaders themselves. And then I talk about the guys a lot, but let's talk about these young girls that's setting people up, that's allowing the backdoor situation to even, be relevant. It's a lot of these young girls that have the wrong path.
So to me, that the man and woman or male and female aspect of it is very interchangeable. I always like put more blame on the man because I'm a man for one. You know what I mean? So I'm going to wear mine, and it's like I don't think that we're leading things down the right path. We've heard when we were very impressionable, bitches ain't shit but hoes. I don't even like using the B word, but we've heard that, at a very young age, and we thought that was the way to go because, like you said, it was trendy, it was cool. He said the slick as hell. Oh shit, okay, that's how it's supposed to be. Oh, they ain't shit.
Yeah.
And we didn't even really look at it like, okay, my mama is quote unquote the B word in the sense, and not saying that she is, but they're talking about women. He didn't say this type of woman. He just said B's. And if you're a 6-year-old kid, you've been hearing the B word so many times,
it's your vocabulary.
Yeah, you just associated with so many other just women, period. Yeah. And before you know it, you're not really putting a woman on a pedestal. You're just, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. And then now when you meet this woman, you're not giving her the respect and love, so she's not receiving it. So it's back and forth and things like that. And so now it's a situation to where if I'm a woman, if I'm getting treated like I ain't shit, okay, I'm gonna treat you like you ain't shit. Like I went to the Lil Baby concert last night. They was overturned. I'm talking about that's when it made me realize, like, yeah, I'm old. You feel me? It was all the ratchet behavior. I'm looking around like, my God, these are young women.
Right.
And it was just the whole 20,000 people shaking that all type of shit. Not that I'm against shaking ass. Shake your ass if that's what you want to do, but let's make sure we have a balance with it. Let's make sure we take care of business at the same time, understanding that the man and the woman together creates the future. And the more and more we're disrespecting one another, turning against one another, that seed that we're planting is going to be an unfertile land. It's going to be a fucked up seed, ripping and running, doing whatever type of thing.
Yeah, and I think that is one of the big things that really transcends right back to music. The music now is just like on both parts. On both parts, it's just like, because you got to think about it. Hot Girl Summer came out, and
the Hot Girl Summer,
the behavior, it was a change. And we've had those runs because you got to think we've had Lil' Kim, we had Trina, we had Nicki, and they were all, following those trends. But now this trend is just different because they got who was the new little girl? Sexy Red.
Ski, yeah, that's Ski.
And yeah. So it's like, I don't even want to talk about it.
I think the powers that be. So okay, me and you both are old enough to understand how a lot of these things went on. Like back in the day, Public Enemy came over with Fight the Power,
Right.
and NWA had Fuck the Police.
Right.
The powers that be who controlled the media put NWA in front of Fight the Power. It was more of a niggas with attitude versus, let's stand together.
Right.
And then it just was a domino effect. Before you know it, niggas knew what crack was because Ronald Reagan was on TV with crack. You know what I mean? You knew how much you could make off crack. And it just kept going. Okay, we can aim their minds in this direction. And it just kept going. We didn't own MTV. We didn't own these stations who was pushing these videos. That's why we saw Lil' Kim in our face. You feel me? You had Queen Latifah too.
Mm-hmm.
You had so many other different MC Lights and all that.
MC Light, Moni Love.
Yeah, but instead of those women being on TV, they had the woman with her body parts out and all that other stuff.
Because it made money. It was trendy. It made money, and it was a way to kind of like really keep us where they wanted us in a sense.
So, do you think it was more about the money, or do you think it was just a malicious intent to keep a community a certain way?
I think it was both. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can figure out a way to control a whole community, a whole race, with just, letting them kind of like bump heads with each other
and make money at the same time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to think about that because it was easily to push the narrative of UNITY. You know what I mean? It was easy to push the narrative of Fight the Power, but they chose Fuck the Police, and they chose what was the other? I think at that time it was. Now that I think about it, I don't even think I think all of the women at that point with NWA and Fight the Power in that era, I think all of the women were positive. It was no negativity, no sexualized music at that point. It was no.
Yeah, it wasn't at all.
Yeah, it was. So the women were just in the middle, kind of the peacemakers, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Then that kind of just brought me to Spike Lee movie. What was that movie that he shot right here? He shot this movie right here on this corner and this corner.
Talking about Chirac?
Chirac.
Okay. So
the women.
I never saw that movie, but I like the concept. I actually really like that concept because women do have that power. Yeah. If all women stand in solidarity and say, "Hey, we ain't doing nothing," I think that would change something. At least me.
When it comes down to it like that, women are really truly the power behind a lot of everything that's going on, bro. We can't. Like a real man cannot function without a good woman that has good principles and morals and values behind them to move forward. And I think a lot of times what's really, looked over is the fact that a lot of time it's the woman in the background that's making things flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, to that Chirac concept of what Spike Lee was doing and giving women their power back, and understanding that, the men are supposed to lead, but it's like we're definitely checking for a good woman to be able to really understand the deficit and holding us down and making us more powerful. I seen a reel on Instagram the other day, and when the lady told the guy, she was like, "Hey, come here, let me talk to you for a minute." He was like, "Wait, I gotta go, this, that, and the other." She was like, "Hey, you got this. You will do this. You will do that. This is at your fingertips." She just gave him all the encouragement and all of the affirmations that he needed to walk out there into the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of things have got tangled so much to young boys don't even know that. You know what I mean? They don't understand. They think that what they homies say is more powerful until you grow up man, this nigga ain't going to bed with me. This nigga ain't building no future.
Not only going to bed, that nigga ain't coming to see me in jail.
Right.
Or
exactly.
Or sending me no more for commissary. A lot of them don't realize that. They don't understand that. And that's just the power of, once again, going back to music, going back to these TV series that's being put out. The expressions of how our community is portrayed. in these movies, these sitcoms.
Me and you're a little older, just slightly. But we come from a certain era to where all on TV was just all white. It was whitewashed. You know what I mean? And that kind of played, to me, at least from my perspective, it played heavy on our mentals because all we saw was the white way to be.
Mm-hmm.
But these new kids, the millennials, they didn't live like that. My daughter, 20. You know what I mean? So her whole existence wasn't all white people on TV. Barack Obama was the president in 2008.
Yeah.
You feel me? She was 5. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of her existence is blackness on TV. Even though it is black exploitation in a way, the love and hip hops and all that other stuff, but it still is blackness. So it's a different kind of mind frame when it comes to that. Like, I like what that just did to my brain. So we do when I walked in here, you had on a loving song, and I was tired. I had just woke up, and it instantly gave me some power. It gave me some like, okay, yeah, time to start the day. One of them vibes. It felt like Granny on Sunday. You know what I mean? But that also came with how we was raised, and you had Dick Van Dyke on TV. Mary Tyler Moore and all that. But now when you flip it, my daughter's 20. The music that's on, you know what I mean? The Too Short or whatever it is on, or she's growing up, and then you got love and hip hop as well, and that's wow. So we got more love infused into our soul, and they got more BS and infused.
Yeah, because let's look at love and hip hop. You know what I mean? Let's look at these shows. It kicked off with what? Flavor of Love. Mm-hmm. You got 30 women fighting over one dude. Not to say that the guy was the most handsome or the richest or whatever, but this just goes to show that our culture, we're enslaved by. No, I ain't even gonna say enslaved. Our culture was just. We were at the point where it was time to come up. Period.
Right. Ooh, that's it.
We were at the point where it's time to come up, and
we couldn't afford not to come up.
Exactly, we couldn't afford not to.
Yeah.
So we're settling. We're going on. We taking 30 girls and we putting them on not love and hip hop, but Flavor of Love. Then out of these Flavor of Love, we got 3 or 4 spinoff shows.
Man,
like you know what I mean. These young ladies to now they something else. Then we take the worst part of that person to make a spinoff of this girl spitting on another girl,
right?
And that was something that was glorified and pushed out. Now we got Bad Girls Club.
So that's the thing.
Now it's a whole nother house with women just like
it's all from that same vein.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then all right, Flavor of Love was a little different. Now we get these 2 dudes. Handsome dudes, real chance.
And that was all the spin.
Now we got a whole nother. You see what I mean? So now our culture is going toward degrading themselves on TV.
And it goes back to what you were saying, the economics, because it all stems from deprivation. Because we needed, we didn't have. We was at a point to where we couldn't turn down these contracts. Lil Baby ain't 8 in 3 days.
Yeah,
we gotta sign this contract at this point.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say that was necessarily it. Yeah, the baby ain't 8 in 3 days, but our generational, the generations changed. Back in the day, grandfather got out, he worked, took care of the house. Grandpa may have had 2 different houses that he was taking care of. I think the whole dynamic, at some point, grandma became 35 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at 35 years old, Granny's still clubbing.
She ain't lived her life all the way yet.
Granny's still clubbing. She's enjoying life, and nobody's really there to help raise, because the baby is having a baby. So grandma ain't lived her life. Daughter ain't lived her life because she's still a baby with a baby. They got to take care of a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And the structure had just changed from there.
And it was never a point to where we got up out like I had from underneath that water.
Yeah.
And everybody's drowning.
Yeah.
And
then you got to realize also at that same time, we got the guys that's making the money, so they could buy the girls the shoes.
Yeah.
Keep them, you know what I mean?
So it's the same thing like I was saying earlier. We're getting bled dry from whatever the system is. But we're in a sense trying to live up to status quo. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are white counterparts. But they got a 400-year more than a 400-year foundation. They got foundation that can trace all the way back to Europe. You know what I mean? our foundation can only be traced to 63rd Street. You feel me? It's crazy. I normally don't even say my age on here, but I'll be 40 like in 3 days. I think it's 5 days. Yeah, I'll be 40 in 5 days. And my father never made it to 30. His father never made it to 30. I don't even know my great grandfather. You feel me? So a lot of us ain't making it this far to get out of that. Like you say, grandma's 35 and she ain't done clubbing yet because, you know, she been feeling deprived her whole life. Now this guy who's making his money, he's been bled dry by the system. Now he's bleeding her dry. He's bleeding them dry because he want to feel too.
And just like you said earlier, it all still goes back to the man. You know, as we know from the Bible, we're supposed to lead, right?
Yes, sir.
And a lot of us are leading into destruction. And it's kind of because, like, I can honestly say, like, I've really been trying to sit back and figure out, like, what conversations my dad and I had for me to grow, for me to understand, you know what I mean? You knew right from wrong when we was coming up because you got your ass whooped.
That part. Have you ever been the culprit of the bullshit?
A culprit of the bullshit, and which bullshit?
The street narrative to where you can say you probably led a man or a young woman down the wrong path intentionally. I'm not saying.
What I can say to that is that I raised my children differently, and I wish that I would not have chose the route that I chose.
How many kids you got?
I got 2, and I think, you know, with that, it's like I didn't want them to come up like I came up. I didn't want to beat their ass for nothing. I didn't want them going to school with holes in their shoes and things like that. So, you know, I gave them a lot more instead of making them earn it, you know. And to date, that's an issue because you have, because it's a privilege thing now. You know, now it's like you expect it, or that's just what it's supposed to be. So, you know, a lot of times we don't understand how difficult it is when you just give. And you give and you give. And
how old are your kids?
My kids are 22 and 14.
Boy and girl?
Boy and girl. My daughter's 14, my son's 22. And I can honestly say I'm proud of my son right now because he has taken the tools that, you know, that I've given him and the tools that he's learned on his own to really push and grow and do his thing. So it's like he's doing what he needs to do in terms of making his career within music and DJing and things like that, and I'm happy for that. Whereas I'm trying to get my daughter to like really understand that she has the power to like really be special, and she is special, but she's so talented from so many different things. It's incredible. Like last night, she did a song, an open mic, a Billie Eilish song that it blew my mind because it's like, wow. So her range and her octaves that she can hit is just totally crazy. But at a sense, it's like, all right, at some point that should have been something where the structure was different, and she have to understand that there's certain elements to touch, you know, just to kind of give her a bigger push. It's too relaxed. She doesn't need for anything.
I think that's your ambition speaking. I'm not saying that you're on the right or the wrong side of it. I just think it's your ambition speaking to where you want more and more and more. We have lived a crazy life. Even though you did have your mom and dad, you still come up in an area where maybe your homie didn't eat dinner last night. You know what I mean? So you're feeling that. You're not feeling it all the way. Your stomach ain't rattling like that. But this your dog though, so you feeling it, you know.
I think what I really want people to understand with this part is that you have to really pay attention. Like I feel like at this point, if I were to die today,
Lord forbid,
what structure or what living conditions would you have at that point? And I say this for everybody. If you're with the people that you grown up with, whether your parents, your guardians, or whatever, what have you taken from them to sustain your life after they're gone? You understand what I'm saying?
Just
yeah, I think a lot of times that these young people really don't understand the privilege that they have.
So we got that because, again, deprivation. Well, me on my side, I lost a lot before I turned 10, like a lot of people, a lot of negative situations. And I knew how valuable time was because of that. So now we got kids growing up, they're not, like you say, your homie or two died or whatever. Your kids may not be living through that same thing. They're not understanding, like, okay, life can be gone that quick. So, okay, I'm 14, I'm 22, and I'm kind of a little lollygagging around because it's not that fucked up. That means you did a good job. You know what I mean? And that goes back to what I'm saying with the ambition. Yeah, you did a good job, but if you had $1 million, you're gonna want 2 million. If you had 10 million, you're gonna want 100 million.
Yeah.
That's just the ambition of what we are as a people. So I guess I say that to say this: you're doing a good job as a parent because your son, I've met your son a few times, and he's doing this thing. You know what I mean? I haven't met your daughter, but you're planting good seeds. Not many fathers have a shop on 63rd and Ashland, you know what I mean? There's so many people that walk past, peeked in here, said, hey, waved, all type of stuff. You're a pillar in the community, and you've only been here 6 years. Another thing that also pokes up in my head is it's from deprivation. The community is letting you know every time they happy to see you, we needed you. We needed you right here. You know what I mean? You brought color to a place. Bro, the police station right there, you feel me? We from here. We know what's going on 63rd and Ashland. I got people all around here. We know how crazy it get. Gee, it was like a press conference with like some political people like right down the street one day. It was a shootout during the press conference. I'm sure you remember this.
Ulster.
It was
71st.
It was somewhere around here, yeah. And it was a shootout with the press. No, matter of fact, it was on some like 63rd and Hermitage or something like right there.
Okay.
This was a few years back. I remember they had a press conference about stop the violence, and some niggas had a shootout live in the middle of the press conference. We come from these kind of areas, and we want better. We want better. I think we are getting better. I kind of lost train of thought, but I think it still stems from ambition to where we don't see that we are getting better, and all we do see is the negative.
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting better. I can see that. I just, yeah, I can see that. I don't even know which way to go from that because I mean there are a lot of things that's different. Yeah.
What have you seen like the changes in the community over the years? What have you witnessed yourself?
I mean, I've witnessed the organizations come together to clean and to make things a little more not only manageable but just sustainable. Especially through the events to the community. There are a lot of events in Englewood that give, whether it's food or just a good time or entertainment. So that goes on all the time. And I think that's one of the things that people have stepped up to understand, that those are the things that community likes. And when you have those moments, you get the opportunity to engage and bring people together that wouldn't necessarily be together.
Mm-hmm. When you said they give food, you automatically made me think of Englewood Barbie. And every time I see your name on Instagram, for some, like when I see her name, I think of you. When I see your name, I think of her because the Englewood Barbie, Englewood branded. It, like you said, we got tunnel vision. So the word, and once you see it, automatically, like brand association in a sense. Right. Have you guys ever come together and created something for the people?
Yeah, we haven't created anything together yet, but we definitely support each other. So that's a good thing, and I'm happy for the things that she's been able to accomplish.
If you guys ever come with something, the same thing I tell her. If she ever need me with the camera, I got y'all. If y'all come together with something, I'll create a video for y'all. It's on me. Just let me know. I'll pull up and I got you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. What's something that you think the community needs to improve, like life here? Not just here in Englewood, but communities all around.
I think healthier spaces. We're at a point where mental health is at an all-time high, and just being able to create some opportunity for those services to be at our exposure a little easier. That, of course, clean eating. There are some farms here that's pretty cool to have that going. Just like restaurants. Our restaurants of choice that you have here.
You say farm before you go too far.
Oh yeah.
You said farms. I don't know about too many farms in our hood.
Growing Home is on 59th and Wood.
What's it called? Growing
Home. Yeah, it's a full farm.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
59th and Wood.
59th and Woods. Then you have Grow Greater, Englewood on 58th and Halstead, where they're
Okay.
growing over there as well.
I would like
That
to
whole
interview
nature trail.
people like that. Like, so one time on, what was that? Like, 95th, a little further east past, you're probably like a commercial. I saw some guys selling watermelons. I want to interview people like that. I want to bring more awareness and stuff like that.
Okay.
That way, our people
Yeah.
know, like, you ain't got to keep going to, save a lot of
Yeah.
those other places.
And then Growing Home, they have a farmers market, I believe it's every Thursday,
Okay.
where you can go and buy directly from them. It's fresh grown. They have some organics. They have like everything is grown right there on 59th and
Right there in the hood.
and, yeah.
And a lot of people don't, like, it's not pushed in our face.
Yeah.
We got to the point to where I'm getting fat, I'm eating good. That's not eating good. You know what I mean?
I mean, again, it's the commercialized. It's when you think about music, even growing up, what Biggie say? He want steak, cheese, eggs, and what was great.
Yeah,
know what I
exactly.
mean? So it's like we're grown up on understanding like, yo, I got this steak, I'm eating.
I'm eating
I
right.
really realize
That
this
steak is tearing you down.
this butter, and this,
All
the
the starch,
potato
cholesterol,
loaded, like all of
yeah.
that's it plays down the road. I know firsthand because that was me, and diabetes called.
When I
Hey,
first met you, you
calling
was
you right
heavy.
now,
Yeah.
diabetes. This is me. I'm gonna take over your shit. You know what I mean? And that's just a part of one of the reasons that I added on to the events that I do. We do I Heart Englewood Boot Camp now, where we do a boot camp. We have 2 or 3 different instructors. We have healthy living, cooking demonstrations, and just like all of those things, plus the resources to be able to bring us together to have the knowledge to change our lifestyles. And that's all it is, just change your lifestyles. You can eat clean and it still tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So those are the things, like those farms being here are important. We just got to be able to push it enough so people understand it. The one thing I could tell you that's really, really good about Growing Home is they also teach farming. So you can go there and get certified and learn how to grow your own, and then still work there to continuously grow things. So
Helping you, helping the community, and all that
Exactly.
stuff. I think it's the mental thing though, because a lot of us, I be talking that stuff to my people, and they be looking at me like I'm just straight goofy the whole time. I'm eating you eating that lettuce, eating all this other stuff, and it's like, yeah, because I want to preserve my body, and it's kind of like the same thing with gangbanging. If you a kid and you constantly letting your people know, like, nah, this stupid, this don't make no sense. But you got 99 motherfuckers throwing up the rakes, throwing up the five, dropping or whatever. Eventually, it's like, okay, am I stupid? You know what I mean? When all you see, this is in a sense media. These are your people around you. This is your media in a way. You got 99 of your brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews. They all talking this one thing, and you're the oddball.
yeah, and you got to think about that too, though. Like even us growing up, when it was gang, but it was organized. They took the organizers.
The gangs actually came because we needed
structure.
The police was sicking dogs on us, hitting us with water hoses, and that's how gangbang. Well, it wasn't gangbang, but that's the start of it. You know what I mean? The Black Panthers and all that, which turns into Black Keystone Rangers, whatever, however it went. But the original start of it was to help us. It was breakfast programs and all that. Then eventually it got to the point to where niggas just strayed away. Do you think we did that, or do you think the government did that?
No, I think at a sense, when you understand that you have a group of people that are tired and they understand how to organize and do things the right way, and understand the method of protection, protecting themselves, protecting their community, that's too much. That's too much. You can't. It's too powerful, and I think at that point we weren't supposed to have that type of power. That's why they did what they did to Fred, because they understood that he was really the leader of the new world. And he had a way of connecting and communicating with us that was impossible for them. You know what I mean? But you got to think about it too. The way that we were brought in, even with slavery and all of that, we were always on the other end of the stick or the whip or the belt or whichever the case is. And to find someone to have the strength enough to bring people together to fight for themselves, to protect themselves, and things like that was something that wasn't designed. So by design, we can't have this happening. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why look at our leaders. Even if you look at it, and I've never been a gangbanger, but you look, they took away Jeff Ford. He was, organizing the Blackstones. You took away Larry Hoover, that was organizing, and like these people there was structure involved in that. It was structure involved in that so much that they even had violations when you were when you went out of,
One reason that made me ask, do you think it was us or the government? Because greed does happen. A person, what Kanye say, no man should have all that power. Once a person gets so big or big-headed, it does go left. It does go right, no pun intended, but it is a situation to where,
because you got to think about it, Judas and the Messiah.
Sir.
At some point, there is somewhere somebody that's going to try to step in and kind of derail that train. And that in itself, I just wish that we as black people understood our black power.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I wish that we understood that. And I don't want you to understand it in a sense that you can take it and abuse it, but understand it in the sense that you could take it and organize and really be able to commercialize the positive in what we can do.
The reason why I even think that should be because we complain, because we saying, okay, my light bill, my rent, my mortgage, or whatever the case may be, and if you nip the bullshit in the bud, it don't come out in the wash. It don't come out in the end to where you need more. You feel me? My back ain't hurt no more because I ain't ate 99 steaks. You know what I mean? My arteries ain't clogged and all that. But we constantly perpetuating the same BS that was taught to us. We eating the pork. We eating the cheese that when most of us are really lactose intolerant. You know what I mean? We not even paying attention to what's going on. Again, we getting back to the songs, and I'm getting fat, I'm eating good. That's not good. I plan on being 70, 80, 90 years old looking like the same way I'm looking right now. Maybe some more grays, but I want to be that 90-year-old dude able to dunk on a motherfucker if I got to.
But I just want to be able to. I don't want when people look at this to think that what I want to know is how do we encourage to change the narratives, like you just said, our lights do, our bills do, our this. We're natural born hustlers. We've always been, and I think a lot of the times we work these jobs because we understand that, all right, regardless of whatever, I'm gonna get a check in 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks I can cover this, that, and the other. But when in actuality, you work in those jobs, like I was working 80 hours a week sometimes. You know what I mean? 120 hours every 2 weeks, just working. And then when you get off, you still going and working. Mm-hmm. But then when you apply for that manager position, you don't get it. You apply for that a position to step up, you don't get it. Because if you go, we already know you working all of these hours here, why I'm gonna move that and move that and don't get that,
and lose that, right? And now you over here
again. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people don't even really understand the strength and the power they have in themselves.
When you just said that, it made me this is, whenever I say this, people always look at me kind of foolish in a sense. Okay, the reason why racism is relevant because it makes sense. Okay, if I'm working 60 hours a week, I'm your boss, supervisor, whatever, you're working 60 hours a week, you're going over crazy. You're doing more production than anybody ever. Why would I move you from right there? So, okay, to correlate that to what I just said, all right, so a white man know if you have sex with a white woman, that lineage is gone. Not just sex, my bad. If you have a baby by that white woman, there's no longer white. These are black people for the rest of the whatever. Same way with a black woman and a white man is wiped out. So it's a business sense. If I keep y'all over there, keep us over here, our race gets to last longer because as soon as y'all infiltrate, there's no more of us. So it's all business sense. So why would I change the nigga who who he doing 60 hours, but normally I got to get 3 employees to do what he's doing. That same hourly wage or whatever. Same way on the other end. Why would I let these niggas infiltrate our situation? That way in 2050, ain't no more Jonathans. It's all Laquans. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah, and the Laquan situation, it just kind of hurts me to the fact that it is okay for an officer, I don't care what color the officer is, to shoot this person 16 times and they had a knife. 16 times they had a knife, and a knife was not even a threat to you.
That boy was 30 feet away from that man.
Yeah, not even a threat to you. But this is the system that they throw in our face. This guy, he gets convicted. He goes to jail for all of what, 3 months? I could be wrong, but it wasn't long enough. He should still be in jail today.
I think it was like 8 months or something.
Even in the beginning, though, we strip him to death duty. So this guy still gets to get paid. He still gets to, wake up every day, see his family, feed his family. Meanwhile, we have a struggling family over here trying to come to terms with my son had, or my nephew had, or my dog, or my friend, or my cousin, or whoever had a mental issue that needed severe attention, but instead he got his life taken. And then let's just think about the cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that disappeared at that time. Like,
they didn't let that footage go forever.
Right.
Forever.
How do you expect for a family, yet a community, to feel about that type of things? And you would think, all right, it's going to stop there, but it didn't stop there. It kept going.
It was
keeps
at least
going.
30 more.
It keeps going.
There's so many names.
Yeah.
Whole time I like the transition of what happened, because I didn't. Laquan just came out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's crazy because I ain't gonna lie, that situation made tears come to my eyes.
Yeah.
You feel me? That was a young boy. Mm-hmm. They take that young man's life for nothing. I'm gonna switch it to music slightly. Ty Money made a song called United Center. You know about Ty Money?
I know who Ty Money is. I don't think I heard that song.
So United Center, right? So the song probably like 1 minute and 45 seconds, right? So what he did was he played a tape of the Chicago cop driving around looking for Laquan McDaniels. In that 1 minute and 45 seconds, however long the song is, he was driving around. You feel me? And at the end of the song, when he said his last few bars or whatever, it was the man hopping out shooting the boy. That quick. He was riding around 1 minute and 45 seconds or whatever. He got out. He was looking for him. They showed him doing a U-turn and all that. You gotta check the video. I'll probably put the video on this. But it was just art. Like, Shorty went over crazy, and he was just talking about, because of course United Center is our center or whatever. He was talking about like how fucked up it is in Chicago. How like we ain't got no trauma unit on the south side. At that point we didn't. I think we got one now.
I mean, now when you say south side, it just depends on what you're talking about, because our trauma unit is Christ, I believe. And that's in Evergreen. No, that's in Oakland. So the south side of Chicago, unless, well, maybe it's University of Chicago now. I'm not sure. That it has to be, because other than that, it's Oakland. So it has to be University of Chicago, which is.
So we still barely getting what we need though.
Yeah.
The south side is huge.
I mean, you got to think about it though. Like, I think they look at us like they gonna kill themselves anyway. What do we like? Why?
That too though. I think it's deeper than that.
It's always deeper. It's always deeper, but it's like, until we understand and realize how valuable we are to each other, like, none of that matters. Like, unfortunately, I've never put up a Black Lives Matter quote in here, because I believe all lives matter, number one, but number two, I hated the fact that when the police did something or somebody white did something to us, that's when Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. But we out here
smoking each other,
like, and it don't matter then. So I just felt like that was hypocritical, number one, and number two, it was like, we're really worth more alive than dead.
Yeah, we are.
And I hope people
perspective wise, But it depends on what perspective you look at it. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you go back again, to us, we are worth more. And that's what I don't like about how the country is. Because the further I am, the further we all are. And we already know black people are brilliant. You know, we are the sun, you know what I mean? And instead of letting the sun shine, we burying the sun up on all this bullshit, give them the bad education, give them the bad food, put them in these fucked up areas. Well, not even ostracize these areas to make it seem more fucked up and deplete their property value. There's so many different things that we're being milked by, but it's just like I know, just like you know, if you let us get all the resources that we need, we would have been on the moon.
Yeah, but let's talk about that real quick. You said deplete us, and then the property value goes down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So check it out. The property value goes down. Now, all of these people overseas, everywhere, buying up these properties because they're down, they're low. Now they buy them up, and we can't get them. So now they're buying them up, and they're negligent. Now we have abandoned buildings because there's no accountability with this person that has this property that doesn't live in this country. And that happens. So instead of giving the opportunity for the people in the community to get the properties, which is I'm happy right now for what Rage is doing with the land banks, because it's allowing us the opportunity to buy up property in our own communities. But it's no accountability held by the city to these people who are buying these properties, these slumlords that are like really not even taking care of the properties that they have, you know, the ones that have tenants in them. So we're in the point to where you don't know your landlord, you've never met your landlord, because your landlord is dealing with a realty company that still isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So you're living just to survive, even in a place.
Slavery, because you're going to work 40 hours, 60 hours a week, and then you turn around and giving that same money back, and then you got to go back and forth. So you never really doing nothing but working to live. Slavery, indentured servants.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these things that, to me, I'm a little more logical with. That's why I was able to put the business sense when it comes to racism. It's like bullying. We don't have a foundation. We don't have, like the Chinese people, they got a whole country who, if you fuck up, okay, now you got to report to them like, hey, what's going on? Niggas, we ain't got the nigga country. We got Corey over here doing the Englewood stuff. We got Buddy over here doing this, Buddy over here doing that, and all of us ain't band together. So if something does happen to one of our kids, it ain't gonna be like, okay, damn, I got to deal with this whole group.
Yeah.
If something happened to one of our kids, all right, we'll make a news conference about it. Okay, yeah, the mother's sad. Okay, she ain't got Fred Hampton. She don't got the Black Panthers, and that's one reason why they removed that. Because now I can easily enslave. If I'm your cash cow, why would I tell my cash cow, you know what, you're free now?
I mean, and I'm saying, like, look, again, I've never been a gangbanger, but I understand and I understood what was happening. You take a guy like Larry Hoover, who has influence around the country, get him out of the way, and now the structure is gone. Look at what the outcome is. You know, there's no, I don't like speaking on things that I don't really know about, so I'm not going to go too far. But what I do know is that these young guys are just, everybody's bumping heads. Everybody's. There's no structure involved with it. There's no, where is the person that can say, hey, y'all, come here, let's talk. Let's nip this shit in the bud.
I don't even know if that person exists right now.
Exactly.
I was gonna say a rapper, but we done fucked that up so much to where it ain't one rapper who can say, hey guys, put it down, because we got one rapper who chose this side, one rapper who chose this side. So if one do speak, the people gonna look at it like he just really talking about so his people can benefit. But we done got deep, crazy. That's crazy. Early as hell, deep as hell. What made the mascot come about? How did that come about?
The mascot was just about generate bridging gaps. You know, I look at E-Dub, that's his name, Cujo from the Englewood Arts Collective.
Cujo
made him. No, his name is E-Dub, but Cujo designed him.
Okay.
You know, we wanted to be able to bridge those gaps. We do know the importance of the Bear in our history period. You know, when a lot of young people were young, they slept with a teddy bear. We do know that the bear is the most nurturing of all animals, from the nurturing, the protector, the provider. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to be able to emulate what that is. And we just had, you know, with Cujo involved, it just happened to be a cool ass bear. So once we did it on the shirt, that was the first one we did, I just felt that it was necessary to bring it to life. Because one thing that I do know is people on a daily basis deal with some type of bullshit. But when E-Dub is around, it's just a fun time. You know, he dancing through the crowd, he communicating with the kids, communicating with the adults, and it's a happy space.
And that's why I brought it up, because I know you're saying, okay, it is crazy in a lot of places, but we on 63rd National. Let's keep it. It's still rough around here.
I mean, it's Chicago, man. It's
So
Chicago.
I had a conversation with Englewood, and we kind of normalized that, like, just because it's Chicago, that it's supposed to be like, I travel the world, like I travel a lot of places, and
because I think the first time we were supposed to interview, you ended up going to Paris or something.
yeah,
That was like 5 years ago.
exactly, yeah,
was like
exactly,
5
yeah,
years
it was
ago,
forever ago, yeah. And I've been trying to get like this narrative out there, that way we can see ourselves. You know what I mean? That's why I do interview the gangbangers and people from this side and that side, because I want everybody to know, like, we the same motherfucker. You feel me? You just grew up on 79th, you just grew up on 65th.
Yeah.
That's all it really is.
And unfortunately, we've created our own segues to, like, all right, you can't come over here, you can't
Exactly.
come over
Segregation.
here. And 9 times out of 10, you and I are exactly alike. We share the same morals, values, we share the same interests and things like that. But because we're over here on 63rd or 64th, if you will, on some parts, we can't glide together or slide together, or whichever the case.
I
could be saying it wrong, but like,
I like how you did those words.
Yeah, we just gotta, like, we all the same. It's just somebody said, all right, you can't go over there.
I'm gonna say something, and no disclaimers, fuck it. So last night I was talking to a female. Her brother is in the mix of what happened to Duck, right? So I was at my grandma's house. My grandma stayed in Chicago. I don't stay in Chicago no more. So I was at my grandma's house, and every day my grandma talks to my auntie, which is Duck's grandma. So, okay, I'm on the phone talking to a young lady who's involved in the murder of Duck. She's not involved, my bad, let me say this the right way. Her brother was allegedly involved in the murder of Duck, but I'm at my grandma's house who's talking to Duck's grandma every day. This is my auntie. So this is how close we are to each other, you feel me? I'm literally on the phone with the young man who potentially, allegedly, had something to do with this boy's demise, and my grandma's on the phone with this boy's grandma. You feel me? That's how close we are. One phone call, I'm talking to the victim. One phone call, I'm talking to allegedly the culprit. And we all are the same motherfuckers. Like, we could be making millions together with just one phone call. Instead, the phone calls we're making is to go end lives.
Yeah. And again, it's all about now. Wow, this is crazy that I'm about to say this, because it's coming very soon. It's all about inspiring leaders. Englewood inspires leaders.
That's
People inspire leaders. You have to be able to understand your true purpose in this world. We have become demonic. We have been given structures by people who don't give a fuck who we are, right? So, unfortunately, when given that task, there's possibly a little money attached to it to see it through. But imagine how much money you can make if you really decided to put your mind to it, to work on your own structure.
yes,
You
sir.
understand what I'm saying? So just like to be able, and that's just my job, I believe, that God put me here to, is just to try to inspire people. And I'm going to do that in whichever way I can, whether it's through music, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through pop courts, whether it's through collaboration, community, any way that I can to inspire somebody. It meant the world where that young man walked up to me the other day and said what he said to me. It's just about being inspired and understanding or asking why I did what I did. You know, that type of thing right there is like super important because it shows the structure from what we want to be in. The whole goal is to inspire to change, inspire to grow, inspire to see just a better situation that we have. So, you know, with doing that, that's just why I do what I do on a daily basis, just to try to get somebody, especially our young people that are on the wrong path, to just get them to see their potential and how to grow that potential.
Yes, sir. With that being said, it seemed like a good note to end it on. Peace and love, big
Peace
dog.
and love. I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right.